Biden's Green New Deal will end fracking, make America beholden to China. Hello, this is Robert Romano, Vice President of Public Policy with Americans for Limited Government, dailytorch.com. Hit that subscribe button. Today we're going to be talking about former Vice President Joe Biden and the Green New Deal and what's going to happen to hydraulic fracturing in states like Pennsylvania, where the hydraulic fracturing boom in oil has made America energy independent the past 15 years. And I think that President Trump wants to continue those policies, but Joe Biden with the Green New Deal, he wants to end petroleum. He wants to end coal for electricity. He wants to end all fossil fuels and make America dependent upon foreign producers of rare earth minerals like China that will need to produce solar panels. And I don't think that that's a good policy for the American people, for our economy, and for being energy independent and resource independent. Joe Biden is going to put us back in time, basically, to a point where you remember the Arab oil embargoes and what happened when we were having to stand in line for gasoline. Well, the same thing can happen for other types of energy, including electricity, as well as mineral dependence on rare earth minerals that are used in high-tech technologies like solar panels, but also military components and defense production components that are necessary to make computers, to make military hardware, to protect national security. And so I think that Joe Biden's Green New Deal policy is actually a threat to our country and our economy. And so let's take a look at what those policies are and what Joe Biden's been saying. He wants to say one thing to one group of people to curry their favor when he's trying to get the Democratic nomination. And now that he has the nomination, he wants to pretend to people in Pennsylvania that he's not against hydraulic fracturing. But I think the record shows that he is against it, and the Green New Deal would totally eliminate oil. Now, Joe Biden is promising to implement the Green New Deal, the Biden plan for a clean energy revolution, and that surely is what it is. It's environmental justice. Well, in Joe Biden's case, he wants to cut carbon emissions in half by 2035 in a move that would end the fossil fuel industry as we know it, both for transportation and electricity. And again, that means no more oil, no more coal, and no more natural gas. But in the same breath, Joe Biden is attempting to persuade voters in Pennsylvania and elsewhere that he's not going to end hydraulic fracturing because it's very popular in these states. And he doesn't want to sound like he's too radical and extreme on this issue. In Pittsburgh on August 31, Biden said this.
With a clean energy strategy, that is a place for the energy workers right here in Western Pennsylvania. I am not banning fracking. Let me say that again. I am not banning fracking, no matter how many times Donald Trump lies about me.
And so there he is. He's trying to say, I'm not going to ban fracking. What's he talking about? But in the July 2019 debate on CNN, that's exactly what Joe Biden was saying he was going to do. Take a listen to this.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Just to clarify, would there be any place for fossil fuels, including coal and fracking, in a Biden administration?
No, we would work it out. We would make sure it's eliminated and no more subsidies for either one of those. Any fossil fuel.
There you go. No fossil fuel. He's going to eliminate it. He's going to end federal subsidies for it as well. So he wants to disincentivize fossil fuels. That includes oil, that includes fracking, that includes coal, anything like that. He says any fossil fuel, no subsidies, and we're going to phase it out. We're going to work it out, he says. Work it out. And I think that means when you say eliminate, it means eliminate. Now, in the March 2020 one-on-one debate with Bernie Sanders, Biden responded to Sanders' statement that he says, I'm talking about stopping fracking as soon as we possibly can. And here's how Biden's reacting to Senator Sanders on this issue. Take a listen to this.
Is that we are fighting for the future of this planet, for the well-being of our kids and future generations. You cannot continue, as I understand Joe believes, to continue fracking. Correct me if I am wrong. What we need to do right now is bring the world together, tell the fossil fuel industry that we are going to move aggressively to wind, solar, sustainable energies, and energy efficiency.
Thank you, Senator.
No new fracking.
No new fracking. Read my lips. The famous last words for a presidential candidate. No new fracking. He doesn't want any new fracking. Now, that can sound like a clarification from the prior statement that he would eliminate fracking. And now Biden is saying he only means on federal lands. And so the story just keeps on changing. So here he is again in Pennsylvania. He wants to talk about fracking. Here's what, and this was coupling with his Pittsburgh statement. So he's back in Pennsylvania a week later and he's clarifying, oh, I don't mean to ban all fracking. I'm not going to eliminate it. Take a listen to this.
Please explain your position on fracking and fossil fuels.
I am absolutely opposed to ending fracking. What I said was I would not permit more fracking on federal lands. The fracking is taking place now. I would not stop at all.
So he's not going to end it on federal land. So how does he plan on implementing the Green New Deal? How is he going to get environmental justice and a clean energy revolution? How is he going to eliminate fossil fuels and work it out? He's going to use the Green New Deal. He can't be telling the truth on both of these things. He can't have it both ways. Either he wants to eliminate carbon emissions, including fracking, or he doesn't. It's a complete contradiction. Americans for Limited Government President Rick Manning, he said Biden brought the confusion on himself, where he's trying to flip-flop on this issue, and he says he believes that Biden would implement the Green New Deal, stating, quote, here's Joe's problem. He can't win Pennsylvania and support ending hydraulic fracturing. The Green New Deal destroys Pennsylvania's economy just as surely as the Obama-Biden war on coal destroyed West Virginia's. Joe Biden has made a deal with the devil, Bernie, and AOC, and in his own great tradition, he's lying in a desperate attempt to revive his floundering campaign. And I think, yeah, he's not leveling with the American people about not only fracking, but what the Green New Deal will do to destroy the U.S. economy. I think this is going to put us back to a pre-industrial footing. I think the reason the world's population has exploded and we can sustain billions of people is because of the industrial revolutions. And now Democrats are saying they want to undo the industrial revolution and get rid of carbon emissions and fossil fuels that makes everything work, gives us electricity, a good portion of it. And I think that this is going to set us back and make us dependent upon foreign producers, both for energy and for resource extraction. Now, the U.S. emits about 5.1 billion metric tons of carbon emissions every single year. And the portion of that that's devoted to the particular energy sectors, 45% for petroleum, 29% for natural gas, and 26% for coal. Now, of the portion that's for natural gas, only 619 million metric tons is for electricity generation. The rest of it is basically for home heating. And that's where I think the rubber meets the road on the Green New Deal is what is going to happen here. Right off the bat, you have to eliminate 62.7% of your electricity grid. That's natural gas and coal and a little bit of petroleum to produce electricity. But most of it is actually natural gas and coal. 38% is natural gas and 23.5% is coal right now. And that's on the decline. Coal's been declining for a while since the Obama regulations. And it's going to take a while to come back. Probably take a second Trump term to kind of turn that situation around. But if you're going to replace 62% of the grid, what are you going to replace it with? Joe Biden says he'll do it with solar and wind, but that only makes up 9% of the current electricity grid. So you got a lot of catching up to do. You're going to remove all of these fossil fuels eventually by 2035. He wants to cut it in half. So that means you got to get rid of 30% by the 2035 target. And I think they want to go further than that. I think Joe Biden is trying to moderate the Green New Deal position. The original Green New Deal was going to eliminate and get to a net zero carbon emissions in 10 years. That's what Kamala Harris wants to do. So if Joe Biden doesn't make it past his first term, I guess we're going to go from 2035, cutting in half, to 2030, we're going to get rid of all of it and we'll get ready for the Green New Deal. I think the Congress, if Democrats win the White House, they're likely to win both houses of Congress, that the House and the Senate will force a much more radical Green New Deal on Joe Biden than what he's saying right now. So he's probably not in control of the radical basis of his party. And I think they want to get it all done. Even if that means they lose Congress in 2022, they're going to want to get the Green New Deal done as soon as possible. And maybe even use the state lockdowns of the COVID-19 pandemic as a means of slowing down the economy and keeping things shut down and doing a swift transition to this new Green New Deal. Every building in America would have to be upgraded and replaced. This was from AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's version of the Green New Deal. Upgrade or replace every building in the United States with state-of-the-art technology. What else would you have to do? You have to get rid of all natural gas and petroleum for home heating in the winter and making hot water. That would have to end, and then somehow we'd have to be all refitted with electric heat generation and boilers. Every car and truck in America that runs on petroleum would have to be replaced with electric vehicles. The internal combustion engine would have to be banned. All airlines would be grounded, and it would be the end of the Industrial Revolution, which I believe the world's benefited from with the explosion of the world population. Right now, it's possible to sustain billions of people, but will that still be true under the Green New Deal? I think that's a question. I don't think anyone knows the answer to that question because we haven't made this shift yet. No country's gone to this fully green situation. How are you going to produce the goods that you need? How are you going to get all the food produced and things like that? I think those are real questions which the left and the Democrats and Joe Biden is certainly not answering. And then you have to figure out, well, what about the rest of the world? We emit about 5 billion metric tons of carbon dioxide every year, but the world produces about another 30 billion. So if we're going to cut our carbon emissions in half, is the rest of the world going to do that? Is China and Russia going to comply with Joe Biden's Green New Deal? I don't think so. I think they want to get an advantage on us, both from an economic perspective and a national security perspective. Making matters worse, switching over to solar electricity would make the U.S. largely dependent on China. They basically control solar farm production and solar panel production worldwide, and they certainly control the rare earth minerals that are used to do that. We're 100% dependent upon imports for rare earth minerals according to the U.S. Geologic Survey. We're trying to turn that around right now. President Trump is trying to bring production of rare earths into the United States, but it's going to take a while, and it's not going to happen under Joe Biden. Again, 60% of solar panel production is made in China, and so we need to be dependent on China. I thought we were trying to get off of being dependent on China. That's what President Trump wants to do. Joe Biden wants to make us dependent on China for rare earths, for electricity, and for everything, all of our manufacturing. And he voted for permanent normal trade relations with China. He wanted to have China in the World Trade Organization, where we shifted much of our manufacturing after he voted for that. And I think that was unfortunate. Probably the worst vote he ever made, besides NAFTA and maybe voting for the Iraq War. But Joe Biden, I think he's been on the wrong side of these issues, and I'll leave you with the close here. In short, Biden's Green New Deal is nothing more than a Trojan horse to destroy the U.S. economy and to make America beholden to China, which has no intention of instituting similar Green New Deal measures, and who will depend on to just keep the lights on. Why would the American people sign up for that? That's the commentary. This is Robert Romano, Vice President of Public Policy with Americans for Limited Government, dailytorch.com. Hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications, and have a good day.